All right, and this time my mic is enabled. All right. So we're here for the Asharian view. But first, let's talk about something that happened yesterday. Yesterday, Fredonia City got unclaimed by Stony. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it. It's a new series I'm making called Staff Sins. Better watch out, Staff. Whenever I catch you slipping, I'm gonna go ahead and make a video about you. You could slip on purpose if you want to get YouTube famous. Hee hee. But yeah, so that's something I'm gonna start doing. As I see staff making mistakes, I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody know by posting it to my YouTube channel. And hopefully Stony will keep commenting on it because you know I love talking to Stony. Such a great guy. It might be. That's up to Sieg. Alright. So, first of all, let's go ahead and play a game. I'm gonna do a... Let's do a game of, Let's do a game of trivia. I'm gonna think of a cool trivia question. Probably, something general. If you've watched some of my videos, you would know the answer to this. So, today for the prize wheel, it won't be an actual prize wheel. Whoever gets the correct answer will either get to get a free PG-13 commission from me that I'll draw at the end of the view, or they can name a song, and if I know it, I'll sing it at the end of the view. Some good old karaoke. Yeah, PG-13. I ain't drawing no Delatra shit. I've seen that Twitter. I ain't drawing that. Nah, get out of here. Don't get me wrong, Delatra's an amazing artist, but yeah, cigars are allowed. I'll draw cigars. Okay, so apparently Sieg has porn on Delatra's Twitter. So that's a nice fact. That's something nice to know. Alright, stop talking about porn in the view chat. Let's all calm down here. Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and give a piece of trivia. If you guys have watched my other videos, you guys should know this. But the first person who types it is the one who's going to get the low-funded prize. So, ready your typing fingers, or as Coop's concerned, his typing toes. And get ready, because I'm going to go ahead and ask the question. The question is, what was the best Stoneworks event? Jesus Christ. Come on, there's one obvious answer. Oh my god. Alright, so apparently nobody knows the answer. Trillium War wasn't an event, it was a war. Oh my god. Toe breath, what video? No, it's still up. You have to go back. It's the first one on ChancellorTV. Preston got it, but it took way too fucking long. I'll give it to Preston though, because Preston probably had enough time to go check my YouTube channel and look all the way back and figure out which one it is. But yeah, so Preston won. Preston, you can choose at the end of the view which one. Golden War doesn't count. Wars aren't events, they're wars. Come on now. It's not rigged. If you go through and you watch the views and you watch the videos, you'll be able to answer the questions I ask for the prize wheel. It's that simple. It's not rigged. You guys literally had 2 minutes to figure it out. Come on now. Did you just call me an Enderman fuck? Jesus Christ. Alright, so Preston, at the end of the view, I'll ask you what you want, whether it's a doodle or if it's a cover song. So you can decide. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to be tossing around to you guys, like I did to Coop, who got that $20 Steam gift card last time. The lucky fuck. That was my dinner. Anyways. Alright. So, Sieg, you want to go ahead and unmute?
Yo, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, bud? It's
Doing good. How about you?
Been doing pretty good. It's been a hot minute since we talked. I think the last time we talked, I was in the Escharia chat. I think there was an event going on. You remember that? Like some zombie like invasion or something?
Yeah, it's been too long. That months probably.
Yeah, months. So I heard a while back you got unbanned and then rebanned, and you know that's a whole thing of its own. I mean, that reason right there is exactly why I won't even appeal. It's because of shit like that.
It was like less than a day.
Less than a day. Okay, so Escharia, let's talk about that. What was the inspiration of founding Escharia? What was was it based off anything or?
So back in the day, I used to play on Jagdis, and I had my country called Kaihyon. And so at that time, I was overthrown, and I had there's a rebellion going on in my country, and I was pushed kind of to the northern border where I bordered this other country, which this guy named Varys had, and it was called the Blackstone Order. And so we made an alliance with that guy. And then when Jagdis died, we decided to make one faction. And then one of his things is that he wanted it to be more European instead of like a shogunate.
Yeah.
And so we decided that we'd base it off of South Germany, like Austria.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what Escharia is based on. And from there, we actually decided that we wanted to live in a taiga and then kind of continue the same sort of theme we had before, which was like knights. But yeah, that's how it went.
Nice. So I have to ask, was Liliennan the first city that was built in Escharia?
So with Escharia, we didn't know where we wanted to build when we first started off. So we had a few locations in mind. The first of which was modern day like UBSR.
Mm-hmm.
The next was actually Trolonia itself, like that island.
Yeah.
We had where Liliennan is now, and then we had an idea that was like often like Ryzan. We decided to go with the one to Liliennan because it was Mega Taiga. That's just what we were looking for. And so originally Liliennan was 3 or 4 different cities. And while the first town we settled was Liliennan, which was then Kaiserslautern. And so the northern part of what is now Liliennan was under a different town called Schwarzstein, which was Varys' town, the guy I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
We had another town downriver, like kind of by where my palace was, which was called Batavia. And then at that point, I think those were the only 3 towns in our country. We also had another one called like Thule, off in like the ocean somewhere, but we just never bothered with it, so that one kind of got lost right away. And so yeah, those are the first towns in Escharia, but eventually, yeah, Liliana would overtake all the other ones and become one big town.
So I have a question. So you mentioned that there was you created an alliance with this guy back in Jagdis. What was his name?
Varys?
Varys? Now, I have a question. The way you're talking about Varys, it sounds like almost like you guys merged instead of like an alliance. You guys merged into like one nation. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so we moved to Arathnia. We decided we'd be one old country. Then he didn't get everybody in his. Neither of us got everybody who was loyal to
Mm-hmm.
us on Jagdis, so we were kind of a lot smaller. And then basically when it came to Asharia, it was mostly new people. Like Viewed obviously. Viewed was
Yeah.
new, joined Asharia day one. There was Evelyn. Evelyn joined because they wanted to make a colonial company.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only two other people who we had like day one were two Norwegian guys. Broom was one of them, and John was the other one. So yeah, those are basically the original Asharians.
Gotcha. And so, how was the early government of Asharia like? Because it sounds to me like you guys merged. Who was the leader, or did you guys both have equal say in everything? How'd it go?
No, no, it's Varys. Varys is actually pretty chill. We're still friends, and we're gonna make a new faction, like in a different server, like just tomorrow. And so basically, he does is he'll usually just let me deal with all the powers and all that, but he gets to like have his castle and he gets to run like his own like knight order thing. That's usually what he likes to do. And so the original government of Shari was a lot more reliant on nobility, but it was still like just I'd say autocratic completely, where I had all the power. We did have this one thing where I don't know if this is after or before Trolonian Wars. We technically created like a senate, and that was to make what do you call it? So at the time, what do you call it? So if you know Valdrich, Valdrich was founded off like the rebels I had in Jagdis,
Yeah.
and so they didn't like me. And so they were gonna invade me, but then we had the Senate idea, which kind of made us look weaker because we didn't have a centralized authority and there's people vying for power.
Mm-hmm.
And so we used that to try to, you know, make ourselves seem weak so we could actually just build up. And that worked. And so eventually I got power restored to me. Let's see. Yeah, I'll get that later. Yeah, so I got power restored to me. And then that's basically it from there. We continued on as an absolute monarchy until the Empire decided it was not going to exist anymore.
Gotcha. So, what are some of your earliest accomplishments, and what happened to Varys? Did he stop playing? Did he become inactive? What happened to him?
So Varys got bored with the server, and he decided to play on a different one. Which I get it, guy. I mean, love the guy, and so he doesn't really play Minecraft anymore. Which I mean, I don't either. None of us really do. But yeah, that's basically what Varys did. And my early accomplishments would mostly just be kind of related to like the first wars we had, and just building up. So with that, I'd probably say Trolonian Wars. That was probably the biggest one. Where if nobody, people don't know the story, basically off the islands, there was a meeting between this one like bandit king, Dagon Ashabal, and this other guy, Grandpa Boob, leader of the Trolonians. So what happened was me and Vude went out there, and at the time Grandpa Boob decided to flee the scene, and so we fought Dagon Ashabal and killed him. At that point, Dagon Ashabal was like, what he was doing was he was raiding all the major powers and actually getting away with it because at the time Valdreach was kind of pathetic at their military. And same
Mm-hmm.
with Imodal was pretty good because they had the real J, I think that was his name. And it was
Yeah, I remember
at the
Jay
time he
back
was
in the
really
day.
good. Yeah, at the time he was like the best on the server. Even though yeah, actually when the real J like when he was still a bandit, he tried attacking Liliana, but we were like the only town that actually pushed him out. So that was pretty neat. But yeah, so with the Trolonian Wars, we actually that's kind of why Escharia became a big power, because originally we only planned just to be a small little country, like around this area of Lilianan, which I can't even imagine now. But yeah, that was basically what our plan was. And then, so we didn't really do much outside of the Escharia sort of region, just that little Lilianan area, until there was this other guy. His name was Fritz, I think. Fritz the dude. He was what is now Latochi. There was a town called Castrillo. And so what we did was I went up to him. Like this is basically how Asharia expanded. Was
Mm-hmm.
it was me uniting different city states like under my banner at the time. And so he would join. This other town called Anwin would join. All that they'd basically join us. Asharia would grow, which is a little bit different than other countries at the time because they were more growing off of conquest and making great like democracies together. No, we were one of the few autocratic powers still at the time. And so basically, we used that to our advantage in the Trolonian Wars. We beat the Trolonians, conquered down into Tesla, and that's probably one of my biggest accomplishments to begin. Other than that, it'd probably be Huh. I would say Aurora, but we all know how that went. Um, yeah, no, that was a failure. Let's see. I mean, I think it's Liliana itself, the city, because me and Neil built a lot of like Neil built most of it. I'll give the credit to him there. But we had a lot of good planning, and we made probably at the time one of the most beautiful cities in the server, even though it was a little bit gray by other people's standards. But yeah, it's my biggest accomplishment, Lilianen.
Lilianen was an amazing city, and I remember visiting it multiple times, specifically during the Trillium era when it was basically wasn't that like pretty much fully built at that point?
Actually, so Lilianen, like even everyone has world saves of it now. That's not fully built Lilianen. We had a whole new kind of like district being built, like let's say like a week before the Ascension, and so no
Mm-hmm.
like world saves had that, and that's just excluded from like everything. That's basically gone now. So yeah,
Okay,
Lilianen's whole new district was probably one of my favorite areas too, because I was actually the one building a lot of it, but it's gone.
so there was I know very early Asharia, um, and I'm not too sure what was going on with it, but I remember there was a lot of femboy talk in Sharia. Am I
That's
remembering that
me.
right?
Yeah, that's just because of me, because I was like I was a lot more. What do you call it? That was like our humor. That was my humor basically at the time. And so basically, yeah, that's kind of my again. Like this is how it always worked when I was in charge. Is that my image would kind of be the image of Asharia as a whole, and because I was the one in charge, that's how everyone viewed Asharia, even though it wasn't exactly the most accurate at all.
So, what would be a more accurate depiction? Do you believe?
But that completely depends on the time period. I like the idea that we were a bunch of just people on horses, a bunch of knights basically. But there's people like me who put that on its side, even though I was a knight at heart. There was, let's see, if you go very beginning of Asharia, everyone was a warmonger until the Trolonian Wars. Because, yeah, let's see. So if the thing is viewed, so he wanted to start Trolonian Wars. We bunch of when we started it, because Trolonian Wars were toxic. Like this is before a lot of the like any of the rules were implemented. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the rules on like griefing and all that stuff are because of us. We complained a lot. And so basically, like Liliana got lava casted like 3 times in the Trolonian Wars because the that was just allowed then, and they got banned for it, and they were unbanned because Enfys liked them. So yeah,
Seems about right.
yeah, that's just how it was.
I mean,
But
that's kind of how it is.
yeah,
Not how it was. That's how it is. If the staff like you, you're not
still
staying
yeah,
banned
it's
for
still,
long.
I'm still like that.
Yeah.
Even though we don't have Enfys, but man,
It
Enfys,
doesn't matter. His inspiration passed on to the ones below him.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. Yeah, that's Enfys probably contributed a lot to that image too, because that's just again that's probably his sort of humor. But no, you know we were a lot different on the inside. Like Debbie said, we're a bunch of idiots, but like everyone is, like every country is. So
So I know that Asharia and Yimu Adal have a very specific history. To be honest, I don't know where it started because I kind of came in there a little late. Do you want to go into the detail of Asharia and Yimu Adal's historic relations?
so do you want the lore or the in-game or
The
both?
lore, or both, you
Okay,
know.
yeah, okay. So I'll start with the in-game.
Okay.
So in-game, we're pretty chill at first. That was until they decided they're gonna ally Valdreach, which is obviously our main rival at the time, because
Yeah,
they
the
were like
ones that were
rebels from
trying to
Jagdith.
literally kill you.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, they allied them. Then what they did in the Trolonian Wars was, so after we beat the Trolonians, they were obviously a part of like the battle technique. Like we got there first, killed the Trolonians, got all the loot. They were mad they didn't get any of the loot, and so what they did was they declared war on us. They beat us badly because they had all the PvPers at the time, like
Hmm.
Oddity and Jay and all that. So yeah, we lost that pretty miserably. And so that's when we started to hate them from that. And then at the time, this other guy named Kalaman, I forget his actual name. His town was like Zirkalaman in Thainikos. But he would come in and try to burn our stuff. That guy is not cool. But yeah, so that's how we started to hate Yimis and lore. But in In game. In lore, the reason is so Nudinae are natives to like what is now Yimu Adal and
Hmm.
Sneden and north, like a lot of the eastern part of the world were natives to that. And so when humans came from like the Jagdashian collapse, we were all pushed back to like what is Neden now. And so technically we say, oh yeah, they stole our homeland, and that's why there's like still groups in there's a lot of Nidne in Yimu Adal. And yeah, so all that contributed to it. Not to mention the fact that historically they're raiders. But let's see. Just give me 1 second. So, yeah, no. Yeah, no, so the Yumis, what they did was they decided they're gonna raid us and all that, and so we're not dealing with that. That's why we hate him in lore or in game and in lore. His raiding.
That's basically what it sums up to.
1 second.
Yeah, there's a lot of desert in Yumio Adal.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I'm back. I had someone's talking to me from downstairs.
Yeah, no problem. So you were basically saying the relations were that they were raiding you.
Yeah, basically. That's why we didn't really like him for most of the history. In lore, same thing. And then me and Story had a rivalry, even though we're chill now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was pretty bad because you remember the Trillium part of it where
Oh, don't
Debbie,
even get me
Debbie,
started. I
that
have
was pretty
many
bad.
opinions of story.
Yeah, Debbie as well because I know Debbie. I sent Debbie to spy all the time, so
Oh yeah, no,
that worked a little bit.
Debbie was like a badass spy.
Yeah, I mean, I found that kind of funny because Escharia back in the day was like we had all the connections, but now like everybody tries to have connections, and I don't know how well it goes for most people.
I mean, everyone tries to have connections and be sneaky, but when everybody tries to do it, everyone's literally just fucking each other over at that
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
And
So
I think that's where a lot of Rathnir's current frustration comes from. That and lack of touch and grass.
that's true. Touching grass is something that people don't do nowadays. And, yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
actually posted a picture in in the shit post. I posted a picture of me touching grass to prove to people I touched grass.
yeah. Mine wasn't grass; it was snow. But you get the point.
Yeah, I get the point. I remember that we were fucking around in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah.
Yeah, so uh, so the history with Yumu Adal and all of that. What about Asharia's power? When I first arrived on the server, Escharia was already one of the big ones, and that came from the Trolonian War, I believe. Um,
Yeah, so that
ha-
was.
so how did that happen, and how did you handle that kind of like boost of power that kind of rose Escharia upwards?
So basically, when we conquered Chelonia, we had a lot of problems. So like we had a rebellion going on at the time. From this one town called Shavsta, which became Pax Romana. They all got banned for hacking, but you know. So basically, we conquered them, and the reason we got a lot of our power was because we had these mercenaries from Talantra's mercenaries from what do you call it? Ulderash around there.
Mm-hmm.
Like and they all joined us. A lot of them joined us and became like Asharians. So that was a big part of the reason because our population boosted after that. We got the video made about us, which made everybody think we were so cool. And then our country basically like we used to be some isolationist kingdom right around the Lianen, but then we had basically all of like, what is now kind of Duchy of Asharia, and then we're starting to go into Sudan. We also, and the thing is, so Valdreach at the time attacked Navarechnia, which was this other group of people, and they were forced to migrate into our country. That further boosted our population, so we were growing fast at that point. But we couldn't really use it because all the other great powers of the world were basically in a coalition against us, just to keep us in check.
From yeah,
Yeah,
keep you from like expanding upwards.
Yeah, and so that's why Trillium actually mattered to us, was because it was able to break that sort of like um, deadlock that we were stuck in. And so yeah, we were stuck in a deadlock even though we had power growing on us.
Most definitely. And I think a lot of that power actually, from what I witnessed in the time in the Trillium, came from Debbie, who was basically your second in command.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nobody knew. Here's the thing with that. Nobody knew Debbie had like PvP skills until like the Battle of Cahorn. I mean, I thought Debbie sucked, which was funny now thinking about it. But because we thought we were pretty weak coming to the Battle of Cahorn and the Trillium War.
uh huh.
We thought we'd rely on Bardonia, but no, we actually put our weight around. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I was actually really surprised and really glad that that worked out for you guys, because that was one of the battles. I don't know if you remember at the time we were discussing it. That was one of the battles we were the most worried about.
Yeah, I didn't expect Silver Coalition to lose so badly because I thought they were. I didn't think they'd be traitors, but you know. Speaking of which, yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Although I can't say I'm not happy they're gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
you about to drop some shit? What you trying
yeah,
to say here?
yeah, yeah. You know what? You know why the Ascension happened was because we didn't want to fight a two-front war, basically on against the Bardonia and the Silver Coalition, and so
Well,
that's why the Ascension happened.
the thing is that I don't think you would have fought a two front war, because the Silver Coalition was actually in the same, if not, a similar position to everybody else after the Trillium War, because we all know what happened after the Trillium War.
The thing is we still think we could have won like a one-on-one against either Bardonia or
Hmm.
um what do you call it? Or Silver Coalition? Especially Silver Coalition. We think we could have beat them. But it was when when Hub and everybody were decided, yeah, we're gonna go fight Escharia too. I'm like, God damn, now we're not gonna win. Because we would have lost pretty bad.
Yeah,
Because that's all the PvPers.
back in the day, Bardonia was kind of a PvP collector, like, and
Yeah, yeah.
pretty much Debbie was really the only good PvPer at that time that we didn't have. And honestly, Debbie was really good. Like, I don't know how good Debbie is right now, but back in the day, Debbie was considered probably just as good as like Hub and his Texas.
Yeah, because the spirit raids after really showed that. Because now, like, when you look at it now, it's like, if we had the same amount of success as we did in the spirit raids, I probably would have. I probably wouldn't have done the ascension. I probably would have tried to
Well,
keep our land
let's
more.
rewind a little bit. I think we fast forwarded a little bit too fast here. So, um, the Trolonian Wars. What did you guys do after that?
Well, that's where the whole Pax Asharia thing was. Because we were all in peace, basically. We tried staying peaceful for as long as we could, and then the werewolf crisis happened.
I remember
There.
that nobody talks about the lycanthropes. Nobody
Yeah,
talks
yeah.
about it. By the way,
It's
okay, to let the chat know, there was this werewolf plugin on Stoneworks that literally lets you turn into fucking werewolves and kill people barehanded. It was crazy.
so that werewolf crisis
Yeah.
is why the modern nation of Aurora exists. Because so basically, we founded Aurora, the Russian Order, as basically if we played the Dragon Age games like the Grey Wardens, and so basically they were they served as the Emperor's Guard and as the basically protecting people around the world against werewolves.
Hmm.
But at the time, the Navarrechnians who came into our country weren't also Leonin yet. And there was one who was never set religion called Pavlovist, and so that's what spread to the Rowan Order people that we stationed on the Isle of Texel, which was like Robot and Canine and all them. So basically, they were heathens, and they were the reason the me embedded moved all. They rebelled, got kicked out, and pushed to Aurora. And that's why Aurora exists for anyone who ever didn't know that.
So, Aurora actually originated in Escharia?
Yeah, so they're all Oh, they're not like culturally or like even
Were they
remotely Asgardian.
squatters?
No, they actually joined the Order, and they were originally just like um
So they were Asharians who lived on Tessel.
yeah. We just kicked them off because they rebelled. So, which
Gotcha.
is
So
yeah.
about Tessel, Tessel has some historical significance. Let's talk about Tessel for a sec. Tell me about Tessel.
Yeah, so that was originally and in game we had no like connections to it at all besides we wanted this out there originally. But in lore, that was just the site of like some battle between our gods. And so it's a pretty unholy place. And so the Trolonians, they were trying to revive this pit and they were basically kind of running the Darkspawn from Dragon Age. They had their underground civilization and all their tunnels down there. We raided them. We originally wanted them to change religion. They didn't do it. So yeah, that's the thing about the Trolonian Wars. It wasn't a war of like us to kill them. We originally just wanted them to change religion. That didn't work out, and so we killed them all, and we annexed the island, and we tried filling in their like pit to their god, which was to us our dark gods. So like, yeah, it was equally as relevant in their religion as it is to ours, even though they didn't obviously believe in the same god as us. We just decided we would try to prevent all our like in lore. We wanted to prevent all our problems from rising out of that pit, and that's why everyone today is really loving Tessel because it had that pit there, and the Aurorans think they have a claim to it because I stationed them there. So it's just all that sort of stuff.
I know a while back there was this whole argument about Tessel, and there was like almost a war about it. Was that the Aurorans trying to claim back Tessel?
I'd say so. I mean, I thought I heard so, but again, my all my sources are obviously biased. So
Yeah.
because again, I'm friends with all the Asharians. There was some of the Asharians now still, like Zalorm who couldn't make it today, or like Tobrath, all those sort of people. So yeah, my sources are definitely biased, but I'd say they were trying to claim back Tessel because that's always been one of their ambitions. Is they want to rebuild their town called Ironspire.
Which was originally on Tessel, I take it.
Yeah. But it was a pretty looking town actually. I'll admit that. The only problem is it was Pamavist, so it was the wrong religion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no. That like Debbie said, that if the Trillium War, like if we lost it, the Warrens wanted Tessel back. That was before it was sunk, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think recently they wanted it back for something else, but I forgot the whole entire. I don't know too much about that. I forget why. I think they actually had. I think someone sold it to him or someone Sudaran. But yeah, that's basically how Tessel is. It's just an unholy place.
Gotcha. And there was the whole thing about sealing the pit. Were you involved with the sealing of the pit?
Yeah, I had to like. So the Ruins said they did it, but like they would not do it. I like had to pester them 24/7 to seal that thing. It took them like forever. I'm like, dude, and I even said, dude, just lava cast it. They're like, no, I'm just gonna fill it up with cobblestone one by one. I'm like, yes, you're never gonna get it filled like that, but they persisted.
So you did it yourself.
And no, they did it. It just took a while. It took like a few months, probably.
And did you hear that the pit was unsealed?
Yeah, that's happened several times. I tend to ignore it because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't care for the staff to use our gods in like a sort of way that's not appreciative of our culture. But yeah, no, the pit to me, yeah, the blade pit. That's just. I think we basically won that battle. And I don't like it being unsealed because it kind of puts all of our efforts in vain in the Trolonian Wars and all that. But
Yeah.
you know,
You can't help it.
yeah, I can't help it. Not my
Well,
choice.
yeah, that's you're kind of out of that out of that game of being able to help it. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So, it's better just not to worry about it. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Hmm.
So,
Like
go on.
yeah, like entropy.
Mhm.
But that whole mistake thing, we actually just like For our religion, we just feel like, oh yeah, that's just basically the dark gods. They're coming back still from the pit because somebody unsealed it. So we're just like, whatever, we'll just deal with it.
Yeah, no, the in my opinion, the entropy event is still the worst event.
Yeah, I wasn't there for it, so
Good thing too. Oh my god, it was bad. Like, oh my god, I'm shaking my head right now just thinking about it. There's so much shit in
the
there.
the moon building, I think that was stupid. The rockets, and because like technology shouldn't be that advanced. Like Escharia was the pinnacle of technology, and like when it was alive, and that was because it had like printing press and all that stuff. We were making that sort, and that's like the 1500s, 1600s,
Hmm.
1700s. That's like not that late at all, but apparently some people built rockets. And I'm like, what the hell? You can't just jump from like printing presses to rockets. Like we were just inventing like magma punk stuff as soon as the Empire was dying. So that was just like as soon as the ascension happened. So that was not like very, I'd say lore consistent. But you know.
Yeah, I mean, early Bardonia, Tizu literally had a lab which she was using to clone people. So I mean,
Yeah. We
eh,
tend to ignore that
yeah,
because it's not like the moon blowing up, you know?
yeah. I mean, it is kind of different. Plus,
Like,
there wasn't a whole ass server texture pack for clones. So
yeah, that's like my like view towards the moon never happened. Moon's still okay to me. Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's cool when they try to make events, but they should also just consult people more. But
no, I definitely agree. And were you informed at all of the Deadwood Hotel that
I haven't heard of it actually. If you want to explain it.
So the Deadwood Hotel was basically like a murder mystery where a bunch of people were invited into a hotel, and it was hosted by you. You remember Oddity, right? Or
Yeah, yeah, that guy.
he later changed his
Pitchy.
name to Dax OG.
Yeah, one of my rivals. So
Yeah,
of course I do.
but he's the one who created the event, and he just like put so much work into it, and there were just like custom books, there were just potions and like chests everywhere. It was a huge ass hotel that was just kind of like a topsy turvy place that had like different elevators and different rooms, and everyone was assigned their rooms and stuff, and there was like mysteries going around. People were teaming up with people they didn't normally team up with. uh it was honestly a really good time. Like it was like I said before, it was the best event. It had lore in there. Like you could find books on pedestals that described lore of like what was happening like in the hotel and kind of hinted towards solving the mystery and stuff. It like like I said before, it was the best server event that there was. The only thing that uh the only thing that's hard for the staff team is the fact that Dex handpicked everybody. He picked who he wanted to participate. It wasn't open to the public. He basically was like, okay, you know, I need representatives from these places, and he just sent out invitations and be like, hey, you know, you're cool, you can come.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, obviously, not everyone can show up because it's, just kind of like people in like such an event that can't be that big.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a pretty cool event. Where was it?
Where was it?
Yeah,
Um, oh fuck, I think the location of the Deadwood Hotel is where the Abyssal Isles were. I don't remember where that was originally. I think that may have been a part of Asharia back in the day.
yeah, it was. I was wondering because I think I know there was an actual like another hotel in the area that was like I think it was like Applewood or something.
Oh, it
It was
was near
something
the
like that.
last bastion.
Yeah, I think that might have been the same place then if it wasn't like, or else it's just two hotels in that forest, which
I don't
there
think
could be.
so. I think if anything, Dex may have taken it over and revamped it.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because I mean, that region I didn't really touch it that much besides our fort there.
Mm-hmm.
So and like walking through, obviously. Even when we had like to build infrastructure to Yumuadal, we went like the other way. We went around I forget what it's called. I don't know the names of all the places in Yimudal, but so there's like this place called Soroba in the
Mm-hmm.
north, and through there's another town called it used to be called Al-Sati, and then it was Al-Seret in our Escharia. I don't know what it's called now. I think it was like Phoenix Harbor or something like that. But they
Yeah.
used to have a road through there, and that's where like we were gonna have our infrastructure. We kind of ignored the south there, down by wherever Dex was. But yeah, Dex was a pain to us, Escharia.
Yeah, I remember him being a pain to you guys, because I don't know if you remember, but we tried to help you
Yeah,
as much as we
yeah, no,
could.
yeah. So basically, with that, it was again. I'd say it's pretty toxic. What happened was like he'd keep declaring war on us and not showing up from like
Yeah, I mean, that would happen all the time back then, though. Like,
yeah.
people don't realize back in the day, you could literally make a proxy town and declare war on someone and just not do anything.
Yeah, you forget how like everyone forgets how shitty it was back in the day. Like briefing was terrible.
Yeah,
Like
no, just like
oh
griefing
my
in
lord.
general was terrible. Like, I remember you had awesome roads that were made all over Asharia,
They're
and
creased
people would
all the
just
time.
would dig up the roads. They
What
would
do you call
dig
it?
up the. It was crazy.
Debbie would get so mad because I claimed the roads once, like all of them, and it cost like it was a few thousand a day. And then back in that day, that was a lot of money, and it still is now. But people just didn't grind as much back then.
Yeah.
And the forests, the forest getting burnt down repeatedly, that was a huge morale like hit to us.
Yeah, I remember you guys were dealing with like forest fires and people were like debarking your trees and shit.
Yeah, that was but I think they're Bardonians then, not like, but
I don't think
that's just
those were the
Auron's Peak.
Bardonians. I'm pretty sure those weren't they bandits from Yimu Adal that were coming over?
Um, that those are the towns burning. The forests were from these guys from Auron's Peak actually.
Were
Um,
they?
yeah, if you know
That's
Jerks, it was one
crazy.
of his friends. I
Damn.
forget his name.
Well,
It was like,
shit. That's
yeah.
something I
I
didn't know about.
I didn't know. Here's my thing. I didn't know Orange Peak was in Bardonia for a very long time. I was like, whatever. I thought it was in the Silver Coalition or something. That's what Lord they fled from there. So I was like, whatever. It's probably nearby there.
Yeah, because if you said something to us, we would have done something.
Yeah. Again, I just forgot though. Like I didn't know. Although, yeah, let's see. So that was a pretty fun time back then. Everyone, I mean, the wars back then were a little bit more fun because there wasn't so many PvPers, but still, people would like Hub and Debbie would just dominate the battlefield, which I get that's not fun. Like back in the Trolonian Wars, like I don't remember Viewed being as good as he was, or she was now. But back in the day, Viewed was not that good at PvP,
Mm-hmm.
and so we were all like um we're all similar in skill, and so it was fun. Like fighting with Viewed like back in what do you call it, against Dagon Ashibo, like she was better than I was. But like that, I don't know. That was just different because Dagon was like good at PvP, and me and Viewed weren't as good, and so that was like fun to like try to survive against somebody who's better than you. But now it's just everybody's better than you, or if you're like good at PvP, you're better than everyone else.
The thing is I feel like Bardonia set the military standard, and people had to meet it. Otherwise, they'd get wiped out.
Yeah, because people would. That's when all the PvPers came in. Because I think you survived for Rex videos, but I
That's
don't
when the
remember for sure when
players
that
started
happened.
coming in, but the PvPers started coming in, I believe, after the Bardonia video. The
Yeah,
Golden War. I think after the Golden War is when the PvPers started piling in.
everybody forgets W was in that war, but so technically you could say Escharia was in that war, but we don't consider that. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
no, actually, yeah, no, Asharia was definitely in the Golden War. Though you only sent, I think, how many, like 2 or 3 people? Like, it wasn't a
Yeah,
lot. It
that
was
was a major part of the Asharian population at the time.
2 or 3 people.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but you definitely sent people, and I remember, and I actually say that that's pretty much the biggest hint towards the Trillium forming was the Golden War, because
yeah, because
both
Silver did stuff too.
Silver Coalition came down, and Asharia sent people over, and then I looked over at Silver, Silver looked over at Asharia, Asharia looked back at Silver, I looked at Asharia, Asharia looked at Bardonia, and we were just like, yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good idea.
It certainly shook apart the whole world at the time because obviously nobody could match it. Like we're all three of us are major powers in our own right,
Yeah.
and so at the time that'd be like something ridiculous. That'd be like if like it's in like Napoleonic era, and that'd be like if France allied Russia. Like that'd not be fun.
When the
But
Trillium formed, I'm pretty sure everyone shit themselves.
yeah, yeah.
Because the thing is, nobody expected Bardonia, the Silver Coalition, and Escharia, of all nations in Rathnir, for those three to become in a tri-alliance.
Yeah, no, that was just unlucky for everybody who wasn't us. But like, again, so Australia was getting bullied for a while at that point. So I think it
Yeah,
was
I
kind of
remember because of the bandits. But then after the Golden War, I don't know if you remember, but Bardonia was very anti-bandit in the
yeah,
Second Republic, and we
yep,
would often, right when somebody's screaming bandit, we'd all teleport in and beat the shit out of the bandit. I don't know if you remember that. Like,
yeah. We had our whole war on banditry,
yeah,
the
no,
Trillium thing.
we were literally the anti-bandits. Like the Bardonia Senate specifically. Like me, Moy, Azexis, back to the hub, and Tizu. All five of us we'd be in a call together and we'd just teleport around killing bandits whenever people needed us.
Yeah, that wasn't as good when the goblins came. Nobody
Yeah,
could really get them,
when
but
the goblins came, the thing is that came from boredom. We just needed, Hub and I. We got bored and we were doing
yeah,
stuff. And I'll tell you, to this day, I still feel bad about what happened over at Lillian and with the goblins. I still feel bad about that. But I will let you know that Stony totally put us up to it, and the only reason we did it was because we were, Hub and I were aspiring to get a goblins video.
which I didn't mind was the person I hated about it was
Stony
Sith.
literally gave us the skulls and everything. We didn't have that. Stony gave that to us and said, blow up a town.
Yeah, no, Sith was the guy who came in. I was mad at Sith. I don't know if you.
Oh
So
my
this is like
god,
this is
Sith.
different. This is Sabrum. I don't know if you know what Sabrum is. So it's another server that like Sith played on for like months. He just got banned like last month, but like he is just one creepy fellow. Um,
Yeah, no, I
yeah, no,
remember, like, everyone, like, near the end of Sith's time on Rathnir, everyone basically was against him. Like,
yeah,
nobody wanted Sith there. Like,
and
everyone.
he tried living in Asharia. Like, jeez,
Yeah, I
he tried.
remember
Yeah, he lived in Megalia.
Moy of all people led the march to go fuck Sith up. Now, to get Moy to lead an army, so somebody's got to really fuck up to do that. That's
Yeah,
the only time Moy's ever done anything like military involved, besides when he built the Bardonian fort in the Trillium War.
I'll be honest. I completely forgot about like Sith's town and stuff. But he had like a whole
You
town and
forgot about
everything.
that?
And
Yeah, he had a whole town, and we marched on it.
yeah, and I was in, like I said, that was in Megalia, which is Vermirion now, around that area. But no, and you know what? I don't know. The guy like he has his own server now or something, and like his build style hasn't changed, which I think is funny. But I don't know. I mean, his town actually looked pretty okay. But the guy was just was it? Who else was bad? Cerberus. Remember Cerberus?
Oh, I remember Cerberus. Yeah.
Yeah, Cerberus and Sith were like they would kept raiding. I feel bad for the guys. Corthade. Those are ally and Megalia. Like they're technically the fourth member of Trillium,
Hmm.
and I like
Yeah,
those
I
guys. I
remember
miss
them.
them,
They
but
were the ones that were they were between Asharia and Bardonia, right?
yeah, the guys who obviously they leaned to Sharia. They joined Sharia and were Nidane and
Hmm.
Soliana and all that. But God, I
Yeah,
mean,
there was like a fourth member of the Trillium Alliance, which is crazy because it was the Trillium Alliance. But yeah, there was a fourth member. I actually forgot about that.
yeah, they're basically my sphere of influence. That it didn't really matter to that point because they were like I said, like I got elected king of Regalia,
Hmm.
so they became part of Asharia. So I mean, again, that's how Asharia. Everyone like thinks we just annexed them or like aggressive, but no, I was literally elected to be king of their country. So they're the same culture and religion. So well, it's a different subculture because in lore, like again, Nidane has like four main different culture groups,
So, what
and
are some nations and like towns that you've annexed from other nations? I'm
so
just curious.
see, obviously Trolonia, that was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Eisenfjord, which we stole from Baldreach,
Yeah.
technically. We stole. Let's see what else we stole. We stole all of Ymuadal, basically. I mean, but then again, they had it coming. They were raiding us, as I say. That's the thing with Asharia and like our ideology. Is I
Mm-hmm.
say, Asharia's never acted in aggression. Is we always expand to keep other people from, you know, getting like a league ahead of us. And so that's why Asharia became so big. Is because we didn't want Baldurch in the south and Ymuadal to our west to eclipse us and start taking land in Needon. So we had to expand first, and that was like our whole ideology. But yeah, that's why we expanded into again most of Needon. We actually had land in the Silver Coalition, but then we gave it back to them to establish our
I
border in
remember
that
that.
first
I
treaty.
remember that there was a whole dispute about it, and you were kind of pissed because they were trying to claim it, even though it was Asharian. And
Yes, so those are the islands first, which we were left with, but we used to actually own like more of the desert, the southern part. But like we gave it to them. We were pretty chill about it until our tension started breaking down at the end of like Trillium, and that's when it was kind of fucky. But we were fine basically with them. We didn't really do too much there. The main area we expanded was against Imodal, and then we did have Fernheim, which I can't say Huicta. Is it Huicta or Huitka? I don't know. But they wanted our island. We had forts there. They technically annexed it from us, but we weren't gonna fight them over it because we needed them in the war on our side
mm-hmm.
against Gimo'edal, so we
Yeah,
ignored it. But that's just how that was. We didn't really annex too many people. Most of the time, people asked to join us. Like with if you remember what Raelia was, now it's a part of Aldavir. That
mm-hmm.
like eastern half of Aldavir, basically, they joined us, but peacefully. The people in Teutonia, they decided they were going to be our protectorate. That was pretty alright.
I remember that.
So the only people we actually really annexed aggressively was Imuadal because we didn't want them to
To keep
keep raiding
invading
us.
you guys, yeah.
Yeah, we wanted them to be kind of weaker. So that's why we annexed them. And that was fine. We actually were pretty fair occupying them. We gave them their own government. So I didn't really.
I mean,
Basically,
that's
they're their
probably
kingdom.
the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like Imuadal. But like, gosh, sometimes Gimme is making me mad.
So,
As it is.
I kind of want to dive into the culture of Asharia. You
Yeah.
mentioned the whole thing about like knights and stuff. Can you kind of dive into the culture of Asharia, where the culture started and kind of how it developed over time?
You're looking for the lore in game.
Both, of course. It's always
Okay,
going to
so
be both, by the way.
yeah, yeah, because the sorry's a bit lore wise. Like I said, if you read a
Mhm.
compendium, it's over 100 pages. So
Yeah, no,
that's obviously
I'm
something.
aware that, in my opinion, as far as all the nations on Rathnir go, I think Asharia has the most lore that's written down. I'll be
Yeah,
straight up. I think nobody comes close to touching Asharia's lore. Asharia's lore is just so vast and just it's solidified. Not to mention your fucking religion, which I'm gonna bring that up later because that's gonna be a whole fucking thing.
yeah. So the Sharia in lore, our whole culture is kind of based on the Solianan
Uh huh.
and just the way of life. And so basically, Nidane people in general are very spiritual, and we like nature. And then we're also better with colder climates, which is why the different cultures that are in like the sands, like the Celeria, which is like Zalorm's culture, often like Siltor. That's why they'd wear more like kind of like Berber inspired clothes to keep the sun off them
Mm-hmm.
because Nidane are vulnerable to that. Basically, Nidane kind of evolved as sort of tribes around the area that's like Soliana, or I don't think there's any town there now, like at all. Remember Soliana was. It's kind of by Latochi, if anyone knows where Latochi is. So basically, we had our like towns over there, and that was pretty alright. Those tribes started to spread off into like Escharia at that point, which is like still a bunch of tribes. Like everyone there is tribes. This is the point before major civilizations existed in Rathnir. And then people go south into Sparwood, have towns there. People go into Altaniquia, all that sort of stuff. But the main point of like Asharian history comes when Soliana existed. So there was this one kind of country, like one little city called Soliana, which Soliana means like comes from Zola or Zora and Diana, which means city of Solaris. So like basically the city of the children of Solaris or the city of the sky, which either one you can take because Solaris actually comes from Zoraris, which is like sky, it has to do with the sky because it's basically a sky god.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, Soliana defeated their rival Ferezzo, which was that's actually the one town that was like still alive. Like in if you can go and visit there in Rathnir. I think it's gone now because it was actually an NPC village. So that was not too fun for them because Trolonian Wars took a toll. But so basically there's those sort of towns. And the Solian Empire became pretty large, but they never expanded into what is Agalia, like Varmarian. That came after that. Like, there were tribes here, obviously, but we'll get to that. So basically, Soliana was big. They developed the main sort of culture that's associated with Asharians, how there's like an emperor. Because the Solianan emperor, one of their like family lines descended into like my character. So like the Asharian emperors, because how that works is through Solianan, the like first emperor of Soliana was a demigod or like an aspect of Solaris, like possessed him and helped him win the war against Ferezzo. So they're holy. We're like descended from the gods, all that sort of lovely stuff. And with that, we have a right to rule. And so that's very important in Asharian culture. Nobles, obviously, people who own land provide like resources for the capital, resources for the emperor. That's why nobles are looked upon so favorably, especially with warriors, because Asharia originally, like the tribes, like all Indian tribes, are based on like warrior clans formed around magic normally. Although magic obviously is nothing in Rathnir, it would be in lore, and so all those sort of tribes evolved into different like warrior castes and all that sort of junk. Basically, at that point, the Nidne culture started to develop, and we had certain like little weird quirks, traditions, like we believed in a lot of like spirits in the forest and all that sort of stuff. So, for example, this is one example of something you do is you leave a candle outside of your like window to prevent like dark spirits from coming in. Like that's just how we are. Like they're very spiritualistic, and so at that point, Soliana was pretty strong, developing our culture, our music, which I've sent music here before in the chat. You guys can check it out. And so Soliana started to crumble because of corruption and natural disasters. Because one of the main things is the Soramari Sea sometimes would experience like typhoons and tsunamis. And so at that point, the city of Soliana itself, this is why you don't see it in game, because we never got down to build it. But in lore, we say it was swallowed up by the waves, and so it sunk. And so that led to Soliana fracturing, and then the few imperial lines that were still out there, most of them were in Escharia at that point, the region of Escharia, which Escharia hasn't existed yet. And so this is about. So let's see. Soliana was founded around the year 0 ASC, which is on Sovera Condata, which is since the founding of Soliana. Around the year 1000 is when Soliana falls. And then in the 1300s, that's when the Asharian Oberon was born. And he is the main sort of figure he's a saint. He's the main sort of figure in Asharian history, where he actually defeated the other Asharian tribes and united them under one banner and started converting everyone back to Soliana around there. That's how the Asharian kingdom was formed. At that point, the Asharian kingdom was expanding around itself. It never got too big. Like at most, it would stretch from the city of Soliana, where it used to be, back into Escharia.
Yeah.
Because it was a holy city and you wanted to hold it. It's like the Holy Roman Emperor holding. It's important to legitimacy. And so at that point, nothing happens until my character's father, Al-Seret. So he led a battle against these people called the Northern League, which are completely fictional because, again, this is before service start. He loses the battle actually, and the Shire is basically wiped out. And that's why we say we're reduced to one our small little area, because we still have to gather our power back up and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when it starts to come into in game. Because I say I was on an expedition to the south because when I actually spawned in Rathnir, I spawned in what is now the UBSR. So I had to make my journey back north. We settled Liliana. Then, yeah, so that's basically just how Asharia's history was, Nina history. And then, let's see, so with culture, we have certain festivals to commemorate, like, victories and stuff. So I know we have a few specific ones we name. Like, let's see. I think we've held the Russian Ordinaire, which is probably one of the largest festivals in, like, Nina culture, and that basically is after, like, a war. It's kind of similar to a Roman triumph, where, like, a captain or like whoever commanded the war would like march through the town and they'd play drums and all that stuff. And for 2 days, people would feast and there'd be dancers and it'd just be a fun time. Then one more historical like festival in Nidne, which I think we celebrated this in game, this one. So we have the Solavens, which are solstices, because obviously we have a sky god. We love the sun, like we love the nature. So
Yeah.
yeah, we have the Solavens. And those basically held a big role because that's where we actually held. I don't know if people remember this. We had like fox hunts in Liliana a bit.
I remember
That was
those.
part of the yeah, it's part of the Solavans. That's where we had like our drinking. That was all fun. That was like right before the Empire collapsed. Was when we started to get to hold more festivals because we were at peace finally. We didn't have to worry about raiding. And yeah, so basically our culture, we have a lot of festivals. Like if you think we'd have like no time to work, but we do. Um, you know, like there's different festivals or different events. Like for example, the emperor's birthday, like when like the first child of like the imperial family is born. What people would do is it's like a fertility festival basically. Or like people would put flowers and like this like they make small rafts and put flowers on it, and then they'd send it down towards the sea. And the whole point of that is to like help guide like lost souls in the form of like miscarriages back to like the people. And so like hopefully they'd be able to have another kid, just like as the imperial family had a kid. And so yeah, we have a lot of like weird stuff like that, but and then with someone asked if we have Halloween festivals, we don't really have anything like that. And then let's see. So let's see what that's basically all the festivals we have. Our culture wise, we have let's see, we like dogs, not as much as like Pavlovists, which Pavlovism is a religion based around dogs from the Navarrechnians. But we revere dogs in a similar way. So like when Nidne children are growing up, they'd receive either a cat, a dog, or a horse, depending on how rich your family is. And then basically they grow up with it, and then when it dies, you'll be buried with your pets, basically. So that's basically sort of a summary of like Nidne culture, that sort of stuff. We have a lot of like animal and religion. Like again, Solianin is
Nature,
very
like you were
important.
saying.
Yeah, Solianin is very important to Nidne culture. Like that's why we were probably like the only state for a long time to like ban religious freedom because it's Solianin just makes a Nidne. And that's why it was sort of like an ethno religion because again, when you're Nidne, if you're not Solian, you're not doing something right because your culture's gone.
All right, so Sieg, I'm gonna ask you
Yeah.
to go into it. All right, you might want to take
Yeah.
a drink.
Yeah. So for Solianin,
You already
basic,
knew.
basically, there is the two main gods. The creator god is a pair. So there's Unimenoma Solaris and Selene. Solaris to us is known as Anatos, or life giver, and there's Selene, which is known as Fame, or like the maiden. So basically, those two started to create the rest of the gods, which were like Domari, which is the god of like work. There's Maruvia, like the god of festivals. Then there's Hikaris, which is like kind of guides you to the afterlife. And there's Ivoras. Ivoras wasn't created. You can't. I'll get to that later. And so basically, we have our gods like that. We have our minor spirits, and those basically make up like what was really worshipped in Solian, besides ancestor spirits, which are also important in their own right. And so basically, what happened was this: like our world was made, and then after that, there was the other planes of the universe were made, such as the Imerium, the End, the Nether, that sort of stuff. Those were all made, and then at that point, at that point, that's when we get to like where the Nidne were created after humans. So basically, animals were created, humans were created, and then Nidne were created as a more refined version of humans. And that's why we're a bit stuck up assholes sometimes, because we're kind of like the elves in the Elder Scrolls. That's a good comparison to make. At that, then, so basically, when it comes to all that, the main point I'm getting to is Solaris would eventually fight one of the other gods that existed before the world. And this one would be known as a Caligo Regala. And so it's a pretty strong god. It's about like I'd say it's probably equal to Solaris in strength. But Solaris actually won against it. And this battle was in the Enmarum, or like the Luminarium. So this is like it's in heaven basically. The battle is in heaven. But as he like wins and beats back Caligo, or like the dark god basically, the realm is corrupted, and so the blights are created. And the blights basically are this sort of I'd say like a disease, but they're like kind of like zombies, degenerated creatures that live beneath the ground. And at times they'd rise up and try to like sack Need cultists. And that basically the original Roaring Order in lore was founded to fight blights, not like werewolves. So basically, yeah. That battle in heaven took place, and as a consequence, blights were created for one, and Solaris was shattered into 3 or 4 different pieces. Technically more, you could probably say. I know for a fact that there is, let's see, there's Ivoras, which is probably my favorite, which is based on, it's a god of, so Solaris is a god of emotion, but then, like, okay, so Anatos, I say it should be like this, Anatos is a god of emotion, but when he's split into Solaris and Ivoras and those other parts, refined emotion was retained by Solaris, who is basically imprisoned in the sun. But then there's raw emotion, which went with Ivoras, who is basically he became the god of war, basically. And so with Ivoras, he was the god I actually summoned, like my character would commune with, and like would talk to all that sort of stuff. And so at this point, there'll be a few other gods. The other aspect of Solaris is Emaister, which is it means the Magister. And so the Emaister is like he's kind of insane. And so the soul tear that broke Solaris, he wants to mend that, and Emaister seeks perfection. And so this is where he's in a state of eternal wrath, and that we believe he will cause the end of the world. And then the final shattered piece of Solaris was Kasredorn, which means like thorn crown. And so basically Kasredorn was said to be fully corrupted by the blights, and so he was like the god of the blights. But Emaister, the god of basically he's a Solaris who was the god of like perfection, defeated Kasredorn, and that's why blights aren't so common in Rathir anymore, because there's no god of the blights, and now it's just like a disease that gets to run its course and mostly affects Sparwood, not really Needon. And so with all of that, that leads us to the patrons. So to the main gods, like the cohort of that the Needne worship, they have their own servants, which are called the patrons, and there is a bunch of them. I don't know how many exactly. We have enough to have, let's say 18. I think there's 18. And then we have 9. So here's why I think we have 18. I'm just going to guess. Because we have 9 months in the Needne calendar. And each month has 2 different, like, star signs with it, which is associated with a patron each. And so, patrons, this is a little tangent on culture, is that, like, Needne houses and people would each have 2 patrons assigned to them based on, like, the month of their birth and that sort of stuff.
So kind of like zodiac signs.
Yeah, basically zodiac signs. But
you made a custom zodiac sign for Solianen?
Yeah, there's actually like you can actually see like if so Minecraft has like every world I think has the same stars. And so you can actually see like we actually mapped out like all the zodiacs onto the stars, and they each have their own symbol and everything. Which that's pretty neat. That's mostly work in Neo, which is the Nine Project's main artist. That's Near Gothic. Pretty cool guy. He's only built most Lilianen. But yeah, so with all of that, we have the principles of honor, which are the Nine sort of it's our code of life, basically, which basically you value creation. You understand that life is not eternal, like your mortal life isn't, but your soul can live on as a spirit. Although, arguably, not everyone does. That change is inevitable. To be true to yourself, to love people, to be courageous, stand up for what you believe in. Not to be cruel, to use charity, all that sort of stuff. All those basic good values that you have.
You need
There's
good
also the golden
values in a
postulates.
place like Rathnir.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even we didn't follow punchlets exactly, but like that's like expecting a Christian to follow all of like the Ten Commandments. You'll break some sometimes, which at least you have those moral guidelines there. You're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna just break it all the time. But yeah, so that's basically where Nidne society comes off of, is that religion there. And so, like I explained before, the main places of worship are not actually like churches. That was just because near Gothic wanted to build a cathedral. And so it's kind of where churches came from. Ideally, we should have like temples and monasteries, like at Il Kabuli was one, which I'll get into that in a second. The Kaaba, that was just a funny. We also had, I think I call it right now, like Atseria, which used to be called like Flamashtal, which was my like temple.
Yeah,
Or
you
like
wouldn't catch me trying to pronounce that.
yeah.
You
No, but
have
that's
all these
actually where
pronunciations fucking down. I can't say
yeah,
half
yeah.
of this shit.
Yeah, we have a conlang. We have a conlang. Like let me just like say something real quick in it.
Yeah.
So I know we have, let me just look up the idea. Because I know we have different like sayings in it. Like okay, I can't even find it, but I'll just try to recite it from my memory. So it goes Tayaan Sriaivir, Anchie Esaleri Zetramviare Ekorinilamaret, which means something like back in the day, ancient Nine sages possessed the ethereal seven arts, and with them they made great discoveries. And so we have our whole conlang with that.
Holy
That's
fucking
fun on its
shit!
own.
You memorized your con. You speak fucking your conlink.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so with
That's
Solion,
insane.
yeah, no. But yeah, so basically we're kind of nerds with that. We're not as again, like I consider Yimuadol to
Mm-hmm.
be pretty equal with their conlang because I think it's pretty cool. But that's just how it is in my opinion. So I forgot where I was going now because that little tangent, but
Yeah, you were talking about I think your temple just a second
a
ago.
temple. Yeah, so we had Il Kabuli, which was so we have a few different holy sites around, obviously. Il Kabuli was this so we conquered Dimordon at this point. We decided
Mm-hmm.
we needed an imperial fort in the area. And we didn't make it out of like Asharian materials, obviously. We decided to make it out of like sand because we wanted to like have it blend in, and I think we just needed a break from building an Asharian style. And so me, Zalorm, and Neo, it was mostly just me and Neo and Zalorm. I don't think there was anyone else there at the time. It's just us. We decided to make like it's actually kind of inspired by Jabba's palace. It was kind of funny. It was on this island, like on the same lake that was it kind of shares the border with Agalia and Escharia. So that was pretty neat. That fortress was we
Is it
actually
still
had
there?
toasters
Do
in
you
there.
know?
Yeah, it should be. Ilkubuli should still be there. You might want to ask Lorm about it because I think he still owns the claim, so it should be fine. Like I don't think there's any like temples that are like not there anymore. Which thankfully, besides the churches get bombed all the time, as they do.
Yeah,
Uh,
Rathner sure does like to bomb some churches.
Yeah, exactly. Or bomb some cities, in the case of Durastarok, but
Or
it is what it is.
Jamestown.
Yeah, Jamestown did not have it easy, but I kind of I like Jamestown just because just a guy named Rayloid, who's from Jamestown, actually moved to Asharia, and I sold him a house for like really cheap, just like one day of
No, I
upkeep for
remember him.
Liliana.
He was a really nice guy.
Yeah, no, so what I do is like Liliana, I just sell houses to people, and like I remember like the Aurorans, I think like tried like wanting Liliana back after like we ascended because we sold him a house there or something. I'm like, bruh. No, that
I
yeah.
own a house there. I own it now.
So after we built El Kabuli, we started. Me and Zalorm were just messing around. We weren't really like doing too much because we are kind of bored. And so we started like these things called the expeditions. This is where we in lore we're exploring different parts of the world, like as far away as like Uldarash and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we give it like steady names, like our conlang. We give names to places. Well, and that's where like in the video he talks about Yadasalam, where we found like we were messing around. We found like this town in like Uldarash where we're like, oh yeah, look at this like village. It's a village, not like an actual like player made town. There was like one villager left, and we decided he was going to be holy as a joke, and we kind of named it after like Jesus. And so we built like a Kaaba there and everything as a funny. And then
Mm-hmm.
Stony came and like made like all these events around it. You know, it was funny at the time until everybody else started coming to the area and like they kind of made it all not fun. It kind of because I know like the giant like pillar turned into bedrock. There was lava and all that, so it was like all these miracles happened, but we decided, nah, we're just gonna bring our funny cube back to Il Kabuli, our like fortress, and so we did, and that's where I don't know if it's still there, but you might be able to see like a kind of like a Kaaba in one of our like imperial fortresses, which is pretty funny. But yeah, so it's basically Sulianan for you. Although, let me see what they said.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think that was Solian and like really like summarized down.
yeah, no,
Because
I wasn't able to
trust
get
me,
into
I've actually Solianen was actually one of the few religions that I actually, and I will say that I studied while playing Rathnir. Specifically so that way I could relate better to Asharia. If I could say that I was any other religion besides Dandalist, which was hardly developed at all,
it.
Dandalism was during the Second Republic was a horrible religion. It was literally just we worship dandelions. That was it. There was nothing else around it. I literally had to evolve it, but
Yeah,
I studied Solianen so that way I could better relate to Asharia for diplomacy purposes. And I was really impressed, like, with everything that you put into it. Were you the only one who worked on Solianen? Or
so yeah, so with most Need Nice stuff, there's usually two or three of us.
okay.
And so the main two is me and this guy named Near Gothic. I mentioned him several times, the guy who built Liliana and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He is the guy who makes all the art. So like all the art you see of like Anatos, all the music you see, because we have a lot of music, believe it or not. Like we have like, if I just like look and I see like I like our little document here, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have like about 20 songs. So they're just all composed by Near Gothic.
That's
So
crazy.
like, yeah. Near Gothic helps with like, a lot of stuff. When in terms of like different projects, there's different people who come in and work on different things. Like for animals, I know this guy named the German Weeaboo helped out with making different animals. Like he made this I think it's called like in English it's like a moss ram. And so what it is, it is all this like fleece and all that that we use to make different clothes and all that. It's more like from a tundra area. It's just
Uh-huh.
like the middle of Needham. And so that's like what he worked on. We have Avon, which if you remember him, he
Yeah, I
worked on
remember
like
him.
his own little subculture, which eventually got like assimilated back, which we kept some bits, like the name. So one of our words for castle, it originally was Astre, but he decided to make his own dialect, and he called it so his fort would be called Verasar, and so we actually added the word Aser as a way to say castle. So his work kind of like got him that way, and then he made some art as well, like 'cause I'd say he was more active in lore for the Asperium, which I can't talk about. I don't know too much,
Yeah.
and besides, that'd be too long of a conversation. Um, when it comes to other players, damn, I think we have Menji who did a little bit of lore for so he's the guy who made Fernheim on like the Huickton Island that
Mm-hmm.
everybody like Sieg Island. The one I claimed, yeah, no, he
Yeah.
was the one stationed there. He decided to make more monk lore and lore about his family, the Verker family. Then I don't know. See, I don't know. Debbie did some lore on the Tochi, which not there wasn't too much lore on the Tochi, but there's some. There was, I'd say, probably the people who made the most lore, which they were not really part of the Nine project. It'd be like the people from Varmarian or like Egalia, where I had to incorporate a lot of their lore into standard like Nine lore, because they were like kind of our own part. Like they were kind of partners with us before like they quit. But eventually, I took all their work and I recycled it into Nine lore. I'd say they contributed heavily. Zalorm contributed pretty heavily to like with his Celerii. Lunken so Lunken and Lethal Muffin were like the two guys in like Yimu Adal who were like still Nidne who made like Nidne lore. And so those two guys, what we did was they'd make their own like lore and like I'd check over it and then it'd get added to the compendium. So like Lunken has like their own like his own like people's emblem. That sort of like their own flag. And so that sort of pretty cool. We also have like let's see. Um yeah, no, I think that's basically all the main people who worked on the lore, besides
Hello.
Soldier.
Hi,
Hey
Debbie.
Debbie, how you going?
So I wanted to say a lot of the inner circle chat was just spitballing lore ideas.
Yeah.
Just
So the inner circle was what inner circle was is that people who don't know, is Asharia had like different levels of trust, And the highest one was the inner circle, which is just like the nobles are basically. You'd have like your own group chat in the Discord. So that was called the inner circle. That's where we had like all of our lore ideas and all that stuff. But then eventually, I'd say most of the lore was actually post Rathnir. Actually, is where we built it when we were moving into a different server called Sabrum, which is that's where we play now. But so basically, we moved all of our lore there, and that's when we started to develop it more.
And
And
then
with that,
at that point, it pretty much forked a little bit because you started developing it on Sabrim while people basically took up the torch and mantle and started developing stuff on Rathnir.
so with that, I still was actually involved. So
you were
there wasn't
still
really a
involved with
split.
the stuff that was developed on Rathnir.
Yeah, so I basically made it so it like applied to both worlds. The only time it like started to split really was when people would decide to want to make their own lore, and like that was like you wouldn't be able to fit it in.
Yeah.
So with the Simulami, the guys north of like what is now Escharia, which used to be a part of literal Escharia, they were they didn't like how the religion was, and then so they made Solaville. Because the main thing is I'm a saint in Solian because again I sacrificed like I did a lot of stuff, and so I'm a saint. And they didn't like that, so like and then Debbie's a saint, for example, in their religion. So we have differences like that. When it comes to like lore itself, there's not a lot of differences. Like Nine lore is pretty much consistent because okay, so when I like stopped playing on Rathnir, I'd spend all my time working on lore, and so I'd
Yeah.
have a lot more time and develop a lot quicker. That's why arguably when we played Rathnir, Asharia was pretty bare bones compared to what it is now, but it was still pretty up there in terms of on the server. But yeah, no, I'd argue personally that most of the Asharian lore comes from after, even after Sabrum. To be honest, I'd say it came mostly from the past 2 or 3 months because about a month or two ago, I had to rewrite all of the Yidney lore because I thought it'd be neat to get it actually consistent with all 3 worlds basically.
Gotcha. So even though you haven't been very active in Rathnir, you're still tackling Escharia as a project.
Yes, that's what we call it, the Solstices project, which arguably it hasn't been being worked on recently because we've just been caring about more the language. We've been working on the language a lot. We've been working on trying to adapt it so we could play on Sabrum because the reset's coming up. That's what again with Rathnir, I'd say I do kind of care about how my lore is treated there because I don't want it to be bastardized, but I can't help it because even if I wanted to be unbanned, I couldn't be unbanned because I could apply, but
yeah, no, it's basically not
I'd
worth it at this point.
I'd have a tough time because I'm not gonna play.
I've heard people say that out of the leaders on like one of the most powerful and dangerous leader combos if they teamed up would be me, you, and Loic. What's your opinion of that?
So with Loic, I think he's kind of overrated a little bit.
It's just
the guy.
something I heard. They said that
Yeah.
me, you, and Loic on the same side would have taken over the server if basically Loic took Star's spot.
Yeah, 1 second. Yes, I think with Loic I think he's overrated.
Fair enough.
He has his people abilities, and I'm not gonna diss him at all because I think he does. He's a pretty good leader, but I also think I've seen him go behind my back a few times, so I'm not gonna completely praise him there.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say we do a world conquest either because I hated the world conquest. I hate world conquest. Yeah, no. I mean, here's the thing. I liked how Star was because Star was a bit more of a diplomat.
No, Star, like Debbie said, Star definitely was the glue in the Trillium. Without Star, look at what happened to Trillium. We fell apart after Star died. There was no reason to keep the Trillium up if Star was dead.
Yeah, no, because the thing with Trillium was yeah, though I did kind of have a bit of grievances with Star because even after his character died, he still was incredibly nationalist, and he actually, I think he pushed for war against Escharia in like the last days of Asharia's existence. So
Mm-hmm.
I do have that against him.
So
I don't think.
why did the Asharian Empire fall after the Trolonian War?
So basically, like we're gonna get coalitioned again, and we didn't really want to do it because. So all of Asharia's history was basically just having to fight off different like invaders and oppressors and all that sort of stuff, and we were sick of it because it was so toxic at that point. Like we getting griefed all the time, and
Not
it's
to
just not really
mention,
fun.
on top of it, harassed constantly.
Yeah, yeah. No, and even now, sometimes I get like DMs and shit. I'm like, oh my gosh, because that's the thing with Rathnir is people really don't understand. People will like act without understanding the people they're talking to,
Yeah.
and I think it's sad, but like it is what it is. I mean, with us in ending Asharia, that was completely our decision. We could have stayed and fought. We didn't want to like. So Asharia is like we're a shame culture, kind of like how Oriental cultures are now. And so
Mhm.
basically, we hate that'd be shameful if we actually lost that war because we'd basically lose our like right to govern. And so we were like, yeah, we're just not gonna deal with all this like lore stuff, and we're not gonna deal with all this like toxic war. So we're just gonna decide we're gonna sink Tessel, so we don't have to like deal with people trying to claim it anymore. And then we're gonna sink Liliana as a sacrifice because we were gonna quit the server anyways. And so we did, and that's why Asharia went poof, and that's why I consider Asharia dead. I don't consider the Asperium to be the same thing as Asharia, but
Do you
it's
consider it to be a
close enough.
successor?
Again, here's the thing with that. Even everyone says it's like Asharia 1's an ideal. You can't really have it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say it's the closest thing to Asharia, besides the original, obviously. It's better than like things like Siderin or things like the Aurorans back on Tessel.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But would you say that it's at least Asharia's legacy? Like, that's basically... No, you wouldn't?
No. So the thing with Asperium is you think of it as a shrine. I don't because it's more Zalorm's handiwork and not mine. It has my culture I made. It has my religion, but it's fundamentally different. Like for example, Solianan is originally it's an ethno religion, like Shintoism. It's not supposed to spread to everywhere, but under like Zalorm's reign, it would be used. It's spread throughout like Bardonia, for example. Bardonia became like mostly Solianan. Same with Ryazan, and then like for a while at least, then like Viadoxa became Solianan. All that sort of stuff. Even though we kind of in original Asharia, we didn't really care about that. Besides like settlers, like if there was a need in a settler, we'd help annex them. But because gotta support your brothers somehow. Might as well incorporate them into the Crownlands.
Of course.
But
Of course.
yeah, of course. That's why we're so big. We're too big for our own good. Which, if I could, I would actually just give in to demands. I'd say, and not do the Ascension, even though it is probably one of our bigger legacies. I think it's terrible now seeing how Asharia has just become split up. So that's kind of I think Rathnir now is kind of gross with the world map. I hate looking at it, seeing my baby gone, but it is what it
There
is.
is a world map. There aren't any map makers left.
So
Yeah, they're on strike. I heard.
Speaking of the world map, have you seen how Bardonia is looking? I'm just saying, it's looking pretty nice.
I haven't seen any maps from like the past month.
Yeah,
Just
well,
it.
basically Bardonia got crushed into pieces, and then it basically bounced right back to where it was.
Wow, I wonder. That's totally unique, Mr. Uni. I think that hasn't happened like 6 other times.
Yeah, with for Uldaresh, for example, Uldaresh did the same thing.
Oh, man,
Oh,
someone
and
needs to just
Viadoxa.
Uldaresh.
Remember when Viadoxa got shattered?
Man, like I was saying though, someone needs to just take Uldaresh down a peg again. Jeez.
I want to go back and
we need you back for that one, Uni.
to like destroy Bardonia.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of Bardonia simply due to the fact they're part of the reason we quit was because they went against us in the war. Yeah, that's the thing is you weren't in charge of Bardonia obviously at the time. It was like
it was
everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, they decided to go to war with us, so we are not friends with Bardonians at that point. I'm still not really too positive with them, but if they're allies, I respect them for being allies, upholding their agreements. So same thing
Yep.
with Silver Coalition. That's why I used to like Silver Coalition, but now I just hate them because man, y'all are kind of traitors. Because we had a non-aggression pact with Silver Coalition before they declared war on us, which that went through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, Bardonia and Escharia has always been on good relations, with the
Especially
exception of the
now.
World Conquest.
Even then, we didn't.
Because
We weren't really,
even
hostile to each
like
other.
even after Asharia fell, the only time like okay, so here's an iffy topic. I hear you don't like talking about it, but what about the Spirits of Asharia?
Oh, that's Debbie's thing. That isn't my thing.
That's Debbie's thing. Hey Debbie, you want to talk about it?
It's a PP group.
It's a PvP group.
Basically,
I want to say
yeah.
the relation between Bardonia and Asharia were just passive aggressive.
No, yeah. Here's the thing with the. So basically, we're sick of like squatters who aren't sold on and trying to settle our land. Like I thought people. Okay, so here's what I thought. It's a world building server. I thought people would actually respect the lore of our area. No. They're just gonna be like, we're gonna make like Floramia. Have you ever heard of Floramia?
No,
They're kind of cringe.
I haven't heard of them.
I mean, yeah, because they're part of Similami. They were like the northern half. They didn't respect our religion or culture or anything. They were Similami did to an extent. That's why I like Similami and Movio because they were Solianan. Even if they weren't Nidane, they were respectful enough of our culture. So they're pretty chill. But not. And then the thing with the spirits is, God, the spirits were pretty successful. If you don't, I don't think anyone can argue with that. They were pretty good, and that's why I think that we probably would have had a good chance in a war against like either Baronia or Silver Coalition, not both, because the spirits were able to kick ass. But
I think we
I don't
would
know.
have won if Hub didn't come
Hub.
in.
Yeah, if Hub didn't come, that's like I said that before. If Hub didn't come, I think we would have fought because I didn't think it would have been an easy victory. Not easy, but like it'd be more likely that it could go either way compared to one sided with Hub.
I mean,
I had to strip everything from my fucking my storage to fund the spirits. I was so broke after that.
You do got to remember, this is like the point where like a lot of the Bardonian PvPers weren't even a part of Bardonia anymore. So
yeah, because basically after that world conquest, by the way, anyone who doesn't know that Bardonian world conquest you guys always hear about, that only lasted 3 days. That was only 3 days long because the toxicity levels got so high, Bardonia canceled it. The staff didn't cancel it. Let me tell you, the staff didn't cancel it. Stony actually encouraged the conquest.
Yeah.
He wanted us to keep going.
I hated it just from a lore perspective, but that's just because I'm a lore guy. So
and the original reason why that Bardonia conquest even started happening was because we thought modded was right around the corner because that's what Enfys told us. We were going to go to modded. We were going to switch from
when modded is
to modded.
just released.
Yeah, modded
I don't even know if
like
it's
just
released.
And it's
the modded
it's beta.
It's not even Stoneworks anymore. Really.
Yeah, it's not even Stoneworks. It's Cinder, and I was literally playing. Cinder. By the way, Cinder's an awesome modded server. If you guys like modded Minecraft, go check out Cinder.
I would disagree with that just because I got banned for existing. I'm just like I didn't even do anything. I'm just blacklisted from it because like, it doesn't like me.
Cinder,
but I did join. Okay, I joined. Time out. Listen, I joined and I saw a few things. One of which was Mao Zedong on a wall. So it is quite an interesting place.
Wait. So the thing with that is, I think Cinder's different. I think Enfys made Dagon or something, and then since I don't know specifically what happened, but basically Enfys got cut from Stoneworks relation. So Dagon is different from Cinder.
Oh, so I'm confused then.
Cinder's run by the older Ash people.
So like Rum Knight. Oh yeah, so Cinder's fine then.
Rum Knight and Timekin. Yeah, no, Cinder's fine. I was really confused.
I'm thinking of Dagon or whatever.
You're thinking of Enfys mod, and no. I'm talking about Cinder.
Yeah, because I remember Enfys mod.
No, like I even though I'm permanently banned from Stoneworks, Rum gave me a very warm welcome. when I wanted to join Cinder, and I went on there and I was actually playing with some of the Uraka folks. You probably don't know Uraka, do you, Sieg?
Don't have a good opinion of him, but
Okay. Yeah, well,
I do know him.
I was playing with them in on Cinder. We were kind of teaming up, chilling, playing modded Minecraft. It was a good time, It was a good time, but like usual when you play modded Minecraft, you binge it for 2 weeks and then you stop playing, because that's just how modded Minecraft works.
I'm on Sabrum, so I don't like modded.
Yeah, you have you basically have like a second Rathnir that you found
Sort of.
permanent.
I basically, I mean, like, here's the thing with Minecraft. I don't play Minecraft much anymore, like, at all.
Yeah.
I because like I get bored really easy now. Because nothing's really the same as Rathnir how it was to me. Because like
old Rathnir was like, people think that we're just like reminiscing back at the past, but people don't realize the magic old Rathnir actually had. Like,
yeah, no, it was something.
It was good. It was actually good, and I honestly think that came from the creative freedom of the community. And I feel like the staff has cracked down on everything so much to try to make it a more professional environment, to the point where the staff has ruined the server.
Yeah, I think that it is a bit more commercialized, Rathnir, and then like I feel like there's not a lot of world builders anymore. I feel like it's all just
Yeah,
the new
no,
people who
I
come in
feel
to
like
play
it's
Minecraft.
PvP and politics at this point. I
There
don't.
are role players, but that's it. They just like, I don't think there are
There's
any world
role
builders.
players, yeah.
Yeah.
There's not world builders, because like I don't know. So I'm picky with lore, obviously. Like if I saw somebody do what I did with Escharia, I get pretty annoyed because I'm like, man, some people just suck at world building. Because I don't like when people just like plagiarize another culture in real life, or like I don't like when people just like. There's so many like Japan copies. Like, oh, look at Platigay or Plagiatea or whatever. There's like
Mhm.
there's 1,000 ones in Eldom. Like people don't understand the culture they're trying to copy either, which is just so annoying. Like even with Ashari, when it was like a German based, at least I spoke German and like understood German like culture enough to actually have like a. And then I made it my own. I didn't want to keep it being some like weird copy. That's the
Yeah,
thing I think
it
Roboter
wasn't
should
like
do.
it was more of like a nod to German, less than a copy of German culture.
That's how like Nidene works. Like Nidene people are like an entire like group of. I'd say consider more like Indo-Europeans. Like how there's like 1,000 different groups. There's the people by the Tochi, which are like more Italian, even though they're more Roman and Italian, but they're not like you don't look at them and go, "Oh, it's a copy." They're like inspired. Same thing with the Asharians. They're like inspired because their architecture is similar, but they don't share a lot of like they don't have a similar tradition. They don't have similar cult. They have some similar words because the languages are based off of like Indo-European languages, but it's not the same thing. It's just oh look at the cult, like the aesthetics, a nice nod to it.
So
Not like the
you
whole entire
mentioned
existence.
Italian, and I saw somebody bring up Italy a little bit earlier. Was there a town called Italy in Asharia?
No, that
No,
was
see,
me.
Italy is probably from
That's
the
me.
Soliana bit because Soliana is from a game like the name because so basically the origin of Solianan is I don't know like when I play with friends on other servers I'd actually world build there and so I'd have my religion of Soliana which was actually a sun religion at the time just based on like the sun cycles and all that
Mm-hmm.
which was a lot more boring I'd say compared to now but it did its job and so when we incorporated it into the server we kept it and but we decided to keep the holy city of Siliana. We decided to add that. That's just actually from like a complete. That's a complete copy of. So in Sonic 2006, I'm gonna bring this game up. This is funny.
Sonic
There's
06.
yeah, like the main city there is Soliana, and like again the god is Solaris. That's why we don't use the name Solaris and
Mm-hmm.
Soliana and all that stuff because it was a joke at the time, but now we're actually trying to be a serious world building thing. But
Yeah.
so basically, with all that, there was this. And so even Asharia, like the name is based off Asadia, which is a song from a different game. A lot of the names are based off of that sort of stuff. Even though now it means like Asadia can mean like 3 or 4 different things in a steady. It can mean the land of like poets, the land of like war horses, the land of spearsmen. It has 1,000 different meanings. But even Soliana, yeah, it has its own lore meaning. Even it's not just a copy really anymore. Even if we are trying to change it. But you know that and the reason why you might consider Italian culture to be a thing is because of the Tochi and the city of Soliana was all based on Italian and specifically Venetian culture because Soliana in the game Sonic 2006
Yeah.
is based on Venice. So that's where people recognize Soliana from, or like not Soliana in. That's completely original, but Soliana the name. So
Gotcha. So, Debbie, going back to what I was saying earlier, can you give us kind of a breakdown about like, well, because Asharia, the the empire fell. Um, the the Asharians were. Was it the Asharians that were ascended, or was it just you, Sieg?
most of the Asharia, yeah, so in lore, it's like 80 to 90% of the Asharan population.
So, Debbie, can you give me a breakdown about the lore of the spirits? Why were the spirits even there? Debbie's not here.
Yeah, so Debbie Debbie was kind of
Debbie
freaking out on that.
dipped.
Debbie doesn't really
Do
know
you
like.
know? Do you know those things?
Yeah, so the whole thing with spirits is so Nidne lore is again superstitious as hell. So we believe in spirits, right?
Yeah.
And so the whole thing of that was we kind of put it as ancestral spirits guarding our territory. And so we kind of took the role as ancestor spirits, returning from the Luminarium and the Ascension to protect what is ours. And so that's basically the lore of spirits. I mean,
They
kind
defended
of
the
simple like that.
Asharian land
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the
So like
longest
Needon.
time.
Yeah, until we just gave up because Zalora made the Asperian,
Yeah.
which that's its own thing. I can't even talk about the Asperian. The Asperian was it's cool to look at because it's like somebody else is basically doing what I did in trying to unite Asharia, but in a different time where like you can't do half the stuff I did. So
Yeah. So, I think we basically really broke
yeah,
down the complete history of Asharia here.
yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's incomplete because it's the complete incomplete history of Asharia.
yeah,
But I think as far as Asharia goes, that basically breaks it down. Now the Asperium, like you said, it's kind of its own thing. You really
yeah,
wouldn't consider it part of Asharia, and I think that would actually have to include me bringing up some of the Asperium guys to probably
yeah. You
explain
need
that
Zalorm.
portion of it. I need Zalorm again. Part 2 Zalorm, let's go.
We missed one important thing, I think. Maybe you did while I wasn't here, but we haven't talked about the golden scales.
Shut up, Vivi. That is like we're not gonna bring that up. There's like a
There's-
large
there's
collection
kids
of
here.
PG like okay, like rated R stuff we cannot talk about with Asharia. Come on.
What about the bomb vest for Solaris?
Okay, that was based. So the bomb vest for Solaris is a funny that I think viewed. What she did was when she donated, she got like a special item, right?
Okay.
And so that item was we used to have an old enchantment plugin,
Mm-hmm.
and that like one of the things was if you died, you exploded. And
Oh yeah, I
so
remember that.
we got a bomb vest for Solaris. So that was fun. I don't know what happened to it, but
Oh, I still have it.
God,
I know, actually, I haven't played in a while. I put it in a chest in the Lianon. So
yeah,
Yazov probably has it.
I still have it, but ignore that. Yeah, Duke has it. Oh. Yeah, no, so we had a bomb vest for Solaris. That was pretty fun. We have a lot of funnies like that, like just jokes like that. Bomb vest for Solaris is probably one of my favorite. Like early Asharia was my favorite because Rathnir was just an untouched. Like it was a great virgin world that has yet on a. Just, yeah, it's just undiscovered basically. But now it's just every inch is tough on it.
Yeah, so
Yes, good.
probably I'm probably gonna do a whole separate view for the Asperium.
Yeah, that'd be
And
wise.
yeah, I'm probably gonna grab Zelorm for that. And I know that there was somebody directly after Zelorm I might want to grab, and maybe Yazov, depending on what the opinion is of everybody over there.
Yeah,
Humble?
so I'm,
Yeah, Humble's
you
who I'm
wouldn't be able
thinking of.
to grab Humble. Humble's like gone off the face of the world. You might want to
Is Humble
for
dead?
the
Holy
Holy
shit!
shit.
Is Humble dead?
Holy shit.
basically. But
No.
but you might want to
Um,
grab Zalorm, I know. Maybe Duke, and then
Humble
yeah,
dead?
Humble dead. Yeah, confirmed.
Wait, where'd it go? Humble dead?
Yeah. No, so you basically just need Zalorm. Zalorm was gonna make it, but and then Aethel and Soldier. But yeah, so I'll just tell those guys to get in
Yeah, no,
contact.
it would definitely if we brought them here, we'd probably be here for another like hour or two. But
Yeah, but I
yeah.
think we got it.
But no, I think we got it as far as Escharia goes. Escharia, honestly, I'm gonna be straight up with you. When I first created the Bardonian Empire, the first Bardonian Empire, I took direct inspiration from the Empire of Escharia and how like you were running things, but I put my own twist on it. Like I looked
Yeah.
at like how you were kind of like running things over there, like from memory. You know, it wasn't perfect, but I took a lot of inspiration from Escharia.
Yeah, those provincial. How did it work? You had like people who had you had landowners as like governors of some sort. I remember like
Yeah,
that.
I had all kinds of things. Like there were districts where people like were in charge of the districts, and inside of the districts there were like towns, and the towns had mayors, and the mayors went to the district people, and then the district people went to the government, and then the government like went to me. It was like it was kind of like a pyramid almost.
In theory, we had that, but I ended up micromanaging everything. So
Yeah, no, I landed up doing that too, and no, but I can't remember a mayor in a town that actually did anything like crazy awesome.
actually,
Yeah.
for
there's
some
that
reason,
one
mayors are
time out.
idiots.
Who's that one? Debbie, do you remember that one guy who like caused Asharia's downfall? He's like irrelevant now, but like the one who from Kumberg.
Oh,
It was
him?
AP.
AP, yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
That one.
That one mayor. AP hate the guy. Completely hate him now because he's the one who killed Asharia. But that guy. So basically, what he did was AP. He was from Kumberg, which is Rekara, or like, it's a Nidne settlement basically.
Kumberg.
Yeah, Kumberg. I love
Kumberg.
Kumberg,
That's
whatever you want to call it.
Kumberg.
It's Kumberg. You gotta say it like it's a funny land. No,
That's
but so
Kumberg.
he moved to Bardonia, became a senator, and then he tried using like, oh, I'm from there to get Bardonia to claim the town. That's why Bardonia went to war with us in the first war because they
I
wanted
don't think he
Kumberg.
was a senator. I think
He was in the government. I know that.
Yeah,
for a
I
fact.
remember he was in the government, but I don't think he was was he in the
This
Senate?
is back when everyone in Bardonia was a senator, basically, because there's a democracy.
Oh wait, are you talking about the third republic?
Yeah.
This is when
Gotcha.
jerks and like crazy were in charge.
Okay, that's the third republic. We don't talk about the third republic. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
as you should, because it killed Asharia. I will blame Bardonia for the death of role players. It has caused the death of Asharia now.
I want to bring something up, and I'm not really trying to. I'm just stating it as a fact. Bardonia killed pretty much all of the old guard.
Yeah.
With the exception of the VIR, which killed itself.
Hey, Valdreach, I clearly killed that because I annexed I was into it. No, I was kidding.
I think who was it? 8
back.
Giroud? Wasn't it 8 Giroud that killed Valdreach?
Yeah, by like
Parve?
I'll explain that story real quick. It's a bit controversial. But
I think that might be a little. I think that might be a little controversial. Actually, no.
Yeah,
we don't suppress stuff on there. Why don't you explain what happened?
So 8J got an alt, pretended to be a something they weren't. They pretended to be a like so in the Valdreach, if you were LGBT, you were given like special status.
Didn't H. Giroud pretend that they were trans?
Yes, so their alt did, and they got promoted because of it, and were like up in the ranks of Valdreach. But when they like were outed as a spy, and they weren't banned for pretending to be someone else, and so that's why Valdreach decided they were gonna like not play because they were sick of that. Like, they were like mad about that. So, yeah, Valdreach was a odd play. I think they came back for a little bit though, but they got like
they
kind of like didn't do anything. Out. Yeah, what a bunch of guys. I mean, I would never. clearly sad. Clearly, I'd never support Baldwin because my rivals. But that
Mhm.
was kind of funny hearing about the fact they just came back and died. And I'm surprised Panda's still around. Like, who's he even allied with?
Panda. I
Just
think
kinda
Panda's kind of just allied with everyone. Really, nobody really fucks with Panda. The last people who fucked with Panda were the people who took over the land down south before Viadoxa was there. I forget
If you
their name.
declare,
Your guys.
Yeah, my guys. The guys that I planted down there and told them to
Yeah.
expand upwards so that way we can merge with Bardonia down the line.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget their name. It had an S in it. That's all I remember.
Yeah, it's not Sora the Gist. What is
Swirling Stay is a different thing. That's like the guys by Lumiere.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember what the Sovs. The Sovs, yeah. The Sovereign, I think is what they call
Yeah,
themselves.
Sovereign.
Sovereign.
I can't
yeah.
spell it.
and gave me a
But
cryptic message, and I was so scared.
Yeah, no, they actually they fought against they were expanding upwards and they declared war because they wanted to take Asienfjord. And they did it. They took Asienfjord, but they asked for help from Bardonia because
Oh yeah,
That's-
that war was fucking so toxic.
yeah, because
Yeah.
because you're fighting because you're fighting they're fighting Escharia in that war because
But I think
we
they were
couldn't
also
bring
fighting
on.
Tortuga. Like early Tortuga, I think was there too.
I don't know, no, because there was who was in that war was Posavaria and Escharia against your guys. So I forget their name again.
I wasn't able
I
to
can't-
go.
The Sovs.
So then I
Yeah, nobody in Escharia could go to that war. That was like the dumb part. We had to rely
the
on
only Asharians that went were like
Chris. It was Chris.
Yeah,
That was the
it was-
only
no,
one who
wait.
went.
oh shit, it was Chris and like two of my friends I got on, which were Boji
Yeah.
and Yaki.
Yeah, and they're good. Boji and Iki are good, but
Okay, I'm gonna be straight
Not
with
the
you.
one.
Everyone's up talk Boji, but I've never seen Boji do good in a fight. And I was at that battle of Asienfjord, and I was actually destroying Boji.
Does-
And you know how bad I am. Like I'm gonna be
You know,
straight
He's
with
good
you.
in duels. He's shit in team fights.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right.
I know. I remember in like the battle of Kahorn, he fucking killed in Kahorn. But Kahorn was just like a mess because. So I'll explain Kahorn. So Kahorn is like the battle against Ashar. So there's been two major battles of Yimmies and Eshis, and so
hmm
the first one we obviously got our ass kicked, but the second one, yeah, kind of the fortunes favored us. Is so the Yimus they took their guys. It was like 3 or 4 like their best fighters. They took them around the back and tried assaulting a fortress. Which you never want to assault a fortress. That's a bad idea. And so
I mean, we kind of found that out when we got kind of turned around at the last bastion.
yeah, no, that was not fun. But
Okay,
yeah, so we
the last bastion that was fuck. We shouldn't have went back. We should have
guys got
left when we
rolled.
left.
You guys got rolled. Okay,
We
I'm
should have
sorry.
left
You,
when we
you
left.
did get rolled.
Yeah, didn't they like glitch in?
They
Yeah.
glitched. Yeah, they glitched into Bardonia City. They robbed our vaults and came back with our shit. So we went there, killed them, and when we were sitting there defending because they didn't have any shit, they glitched into our fucking town, stole our shit, and came back. And they started rolling our allies who stood there, who we told to leave. We told the allies to get the fuck out of there. And then we all tried to go back there, but because of the teleport plugin at the time, it teleported us in one by one, and we just got rolled because we didn't go up as a squad. Because we had 20-second intervals between when our people could go there. So really, it was just like a 3v1 with multiple
Wave.
multiple timers. And the only one who
Yeah,
actually survived that was Azexis. Who
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we don't.
rolled out.
Asharia doesn't like the PvP, and that's why we didn't really like. We got out of there as soon as the battle was done. We were like, nah.
Yeah, no,
We, like, spectated.
we told everyone to get out, but they just stood there. And I don't know. I'm still upset about how all of that was handled, and the fact that they didn't do anything about Jay, who literally fucking glitched into the fucking base and stole all
Yeah.
of Zexus' shit.
He's
Like,
banned now, isn't he?
yeah, he's banned now. For
I thought it was
X-ray.
for. Was it that? I think it was banned for auto farming.
He was banned for X-ray.
No, because I remember. I think it was the Nether gold farm with Delatra. I think that's what he was banned for.
I don't think so.
We're talking about like the
The-
Yimu J.
Yimu, yeah. the real J.
Yeah, no. He's banned for the for what do you call it? They did the giant gold like farm, auto farm in with the Latra in the Nether.
I mean, I don't know anything about that, but he may have been unbanned, or the other time he may have been unbanned. All I know is that he got banned at the time for X-ray. Like,
Yeah, no,
after
he got permanent,
all
man.
of that.
I know he got permanent after, but then is or Oddity is Oddity banned? Or is he just left?
Yes. So, what happened with Dex is Dex basically
He shit talked Athas.
So,
Damn.
let me break down what happened. So after the Deadwood event, it went perfectly. Best event Rathnir's ever had. Okay. After it popped off and it went off like that, he basically said, "I'm resigning from staff." And he basically was like, "Fuck you, Athas and Whiskey. You don't do shit." And then he left.
What a lad. So true though, so true.
He left and then came back, like after like a couple months, just out of nowhere, just to shit talk them. And it was so funny. And then he immediately got
Yeah, he just got banned like right after he did it. It was hilarious.
Man, you're banned, right?
I think me, you, and Debbie are banned.
Yeah, I know Debbie's banned because I asked Debbie earlier. I'm like, hey, what's the IP for Rathnir? Debbie's like, no, I'm banned. I'm like, who isn't banned?
Yeah, no, I'm banned and I'm not appealing because I'm not gonna have like the same shit that happens when like they're gonna try to put me on a leash even if I do get unbanned, but I'm not gonna get unbanned because there's no way they're gonna let me back in.
No, I'm not gonna. I don't feel like the only reason I want to be unbanned is because I think the community treats me a little bit unfairly with their There's a lot of stuff is not true about me, and I don't think that's very nice. And I want to kind of like dispel the rumors, but like on the other hand, I don't want to.
I mean, go for it. This is gonna be posted. Fucking go for it. Dispel the rumors.
He canonically caused world hunger.
So true, dude. I am like the worst person like to ever walk the face of real world, apparently, according to Rathnir. But like, still. No, I mean, like, eventually, I might appeal, and like, I'm just because I mean, here's the thing. I still contribute a lot lore wise, and I mean, I still talk to Stony. Like, I don't know. I'm not like not the worst, but and again, I think my ban's unjustified. I mean. It's Habu banned me. I didn't get banned by like anybody who like was like actually like trying to like enforce the rules, saying, "Oh, we did this wrong." I just got banned because what do you call it?
I mean,
the whole thing. I would say another time.
My first ban was literally because my hands killed Hub. There was nothing else. That was literally my first ban. You can ask Debbie. Debbie was there and witnessed the whole fucking thing. There was no reason to ban me other than the hands killed Hub.
Yeah, no, that was just if you act wrong towards staff, you're banned.
Yeah, no, that's basically what it was.
I would get if the people who did it got banned, but you just got banned.
Yeah, dude, wasn't I on break for like 2 weeks, Debbie? I wasn't even playing. I was on break when it happened.
I think you're at work during the time. I don't even remember.
I wasn't even there. Yeah, I got banned for like a fucking month for I don't know. Staff likes to look at people and decide I'm going to continue to pick on you.
Yeah. At least I'm not there. I'm not getting picked on too much anymore. But yeah, no, they would like I think it was Robot and like all their guys who would they went on to Sabrum just to harass me.
You heard what happened with Robot? He got demoted. You want to know what he did?
Didn't he like teleport his bandit friends over to people?
Not his bandit friends, his bandit account.
Nice.
Yeah, I love bandit account to like leaders trying to fucking kill him and shit.
I thought they basically ignored that though.
They definitely swept it under the rug, but I was telling everyone I fucking knew. I was trying to let everybody know what Robot did. Because they were trying to basically just say that he can't do tickets anymore because he was just being rude in tickets and shit.
He was pretty rude in my tickets. Man. Man, people were not very nice. I think I was talking, I think Raul, when I actually submitted an appeal like a few months ago, but then I just backed out of it because I'm like, I don't want to deal with you people. So
Yeah, no,
I don't
I
know.
don't even think Robot got demoted for abusing. I think he got demoted for something else.
He did, yeah. Because I remember they swept it under the rug. They just didn't care
No,
about it.
they
But
just swept it under the rug. It's almost like the time Enfys literally gave 8 Giroud console access for 5 months, and I tried to tell him over and over that he had some kind of like access to like chat logs and stuff, and they kept
yeah,
saying that it wasn't true.
we figured that out with the goblins because he knew your base. We knew where the base
Yeah,
was.
we figured it out with the goblins. That's how we figured it out. And on top of it, I want to know the fucking truth about what happened in those Olderash caves. I want to know, because Whiskey or Dentro fucking abused their admin to figure out Ezexis was there, because there was no sign of Ezexis, but his name was brought up. There was some kind of fucking admin abuse going on in the fucking Olderash mine shafts.
Hey, but I will say, I mean, stuff isn't Stoney's fault. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, that's not Stoney's fault. It's the staff's fault. I mean,
Stoney's just looking for video content, so I don't blame him.
yeah, no,
But
I'm not blaming Stoney either. The only thing I blame Stoney for is doing things and things ending up being stupid after he does it.
yeah.
I mean, if he does it himself, he really can't. He really can't defend that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, hey, you got to take risks sometimes.
Like, for
but
example, the
I get it.
Halloween event where he teleported everyone into one block and killed half the server.
Was that that was the what was that
Halloween
town?
event 2020?
2020. That was
Yeah,
I was
that
there
was the
for
one
that.
with the mountain.
I died.
Yeah.
I was there for that. I remember that. But
He
but you know what?
teleported everyone onto one square in the entity crane and killed everyone.
But I got away with somebody else's shit. So
Yeah,
man,
we got away with Dex's maxed out axe.
that was a Dwarvo, right?
Yep. And
Yeah, I
we
remember
brought it
that.
back to Bardonia. We renamed it.
What was it called?
I don't remember what we renamed it to, but we were trying to hide the fact because we were going to use it in the Golden War. We were trying to hide the fact that we stole the axe from Yimu because we didn't want Yimu to enemy us for stealing Dex's axe during the Halloween event.
You know what? I don't know how actually. So supposedly, like, this is just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a bunch of from the first Asharian War, like half the loot they got just vanished. Like nobody knows what happened to it. So like, the original Sword of the Emperor is missing. For example, there's an axe called, I can't pronounce it. I don't speak that much Japanese.
Yeah.
No, but so there's another yeah, no, the Blade of Asharia is fine. There's a difference. Before the Blade of Asharia, there was a different sword called the Sword of the Emperor, which was, I think it was diamond. I don't think it was netherite. Or if it was netherite, it wasn't like maxed out. Like so like you know how I have like my set of netherite, right? Like my personal set.
Yeah, I remember. You always walked around in it. And you never
The one
fought in it.
person
You
wore
always put
netherite.
it away whenever you went into a fight. You'd always like take out like iron armor or something.
Yeah, except for the only time I wore it was Cahorn because I didn't want to let him lose it. But like that armor was Grandpa Boobs.
Oh, damn!
All the weapons too, because so all that armor was Trolonian. Because what they did, well, because here's why it was technically ours first. So it was ours. The Yimmies took it away, killed us, or they took our netherite away. Then they gave it to all the Trolonians. So the Trolonians used our netherite to make their own gear. And so technically, it was my netherite, but I just got it back far later. But the reason we got it back was there's these two. So there's obviously Viewed, which she was good at PvP at that time. I think by the time the Trolonian War was ending.
Yeah.
And then there was Chef. There was this older rash guy named Chef in like 1990. He won that battle for us. I mean, I think he wasn't as good as Jay though, surprisingly. So
I remember Hub always beat the shit out of Jay, and then Jay would be like, "Hey, come onto my private server." And then whenever Hub would fight Jay on his private server, somehow fucking Jay just wouldn't die. We had a lot of suspicion that there was some tomfoolery in the background.
Jay, here's what I heard is Jay was only so strong on Rathnir because of his enchantments.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. I don't know if you remember, but during the coronation of Blue Marble, in Ymir Adal, Jay basically challenged people to fight him, and he destroyed people in his enchantments. He like two-shot people. But Hub challenged him to a fist battle, and Hub beat Jay.
All I'm gonna say is my armor is in Aurora, and if any of you are ever bored enough, you could always get it back for me.
You're talking about in the museum.
Museum, yeah, stupid museum. Hate that museum.
Yeah,
but...
the museum has the Chancellor's Boom Boom box that was used to blow up Jamestown.
Yeah, no, it has all my armor. I think it has some of my weapon. I don't know if it has all.
I mean, it's
it
a
has
cool
some.
museum. Let's be honest here. It's pretty base that they have dedicated stands to like bigger figures from Rathnir.
Okay, here's my thing with
Point,
Aurora though.
Aurora.
That stuff should still be put back in Escharia. That's like that. I don't know. You can make You should make copies of it. Don't like. I mean, its value's higher up. The fact that it's like the original my stuff.
I mean, why
But
would you
also, it's
display copies? That doesn't make sense.
Cause I mean, no one's gonna know.
I mean, but the whole
Everyone's
point
just-
is that it's the legitimate thing.
Hey, the whole point of Aurora is that they like to copy things. Have you heard of Hearts Bay? It's just a copy of Liliana style houses. But I don't know.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
but-
Robot just got schematics of Liliana and just stole 'em.
Yeah, that's what people. So for Aurorans hating like old Escharia so much, they sure like to steal a lot of our culture. But I don't know. I mean, again, they're granted they're originally from they're from Escharia, so it's reasonable. But you know, like if you look, Iron Spire, like their town I mentioned, Iron Spire is technically a variation of the Lianan style. So they did a good job with it, but
Iron Spire was pretty nice.
it was until I was like, "No, you're going underwater."
All right, so I think I'm gonna start wrapping up the view.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much covered everything we needed to cover. We had a little bit of there at the end. But before I end the view, L. Preston has a choice between a cover song I know and a PG-13 drawing of whatever he wants. L. Preston. Sing Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. That's actually a good one.
Yes. Do that.
Alright, I'm gonna do that, and while I do that, I'm gonna ask that Debbie and C go ahead and go into mute mode while I sync us out of another successful view. I need to find a good karaoke. I'm trying to find a good karaoke for it.
Rip, Mobius is late.
Wait, Mobius slept through it all?
I don't know. I think he just got here.
No, that's a stupid one.
I've been playing games the entire time.
Alright, let me see if this is a good one. Alright, this is a pretty good instrumental. I'm gonna use this one. Alright, you ready, guys? Gonna go for some Queen. I don't have the vocal of Freddie Mercury, but I'll try. Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive, and the world, I'll turn it inside out. Yeah, I'm floating around in ecstasy, so don't stop me now. Don't stop me 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, 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 there's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees is what they call me, Mr. Fahrenheit. Traveling at the speed of light. Gonna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. Having a ball. Don't stop me now if you wanna have a good time. Just give me a call. 'Cause I'm having a good time. Yes, I'm having a good time. I don't stop it all. Yeah, I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars, on a collision course. I am a satellite. I'm out of control. I'm a sex machine ready to reload like an atom bomb. Oh, I'm about to explode. I'm burning through the sky. Yeah, 200 degrees is why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Traveling at the speed of light. Wanna make a supersonic woman of you. Hey, hey, hey! I like it! Have a good time, good time! Oh, let loose, honey. Alright. Oh, I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees is why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. Traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now if you wanna have a good time. Just give me a call. 'Cause I'm having a good time. Yes, I'm having a good time. I don't want to stop at all. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed the view. And, I mean, this is going to be it until next week. By the way, I am going to be uploading the Andorn video. It's fucking huge, so it's going to take forever to upload. I'm probably going to upload it tomorrow, while I'm, like, playing D&D or something, because it lags the shit out of my computer. So I'm going to upload the Andorn video, and then I'm going to upload this. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.